Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race number 11 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday is the Silks Run Stakes. We're going 5/8 of a mile on the turf. Some fleet turf sprinters. $100,000 is the purse. Before we get to the entry card, I'm sure you've heard about this already, but you can now access Timeform US right in your DRFPPs, and you can try it for free right now. DRF.com. When you access your PPs, you'll see a Timeform US tab. Click on it for your pace projectors, your pace ratings, and all the goodies associated with Timeform US. Here's the field for the Silks Run Stakes, and it's a pretty good one, Mike. And the number 6, Yes I Am Free, is just in razor sharp form right now. He's won both of his starts off with a layoff. Loves Gulfstream Park, 8 for 15 here.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got a lot of speed too. We'll see how fast this pace gets, Dan. He did beat a couple of these horses in his most recent start, winning a grade 3. That pace wasn't fast. I suspect it'll be faster here. And, regardless of the form that he's in, the horse who's the horse to beat in here is the 9 Big Invasion off the layoff.
Big Invasion was absolutely sensational in several of his races last year at Saratoga and at Belmont and at Churchill Downs. Just a true turf sprinter for Christophe Clement. And with Christophe, you don't worry too much about layoffs, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to come back here in a race where, I suppose they could go fast in front of him, which actually helps his chances, although, it could certainly test his fitness right away here, Dan. 5 furlongs. He hasn't been this distance in a while, but he handled it pretty well earlier in his career.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. We're expecting solid pace, not exactly blazing. Warrior's Pride's a long shot on the tote. He's going to show some speed. I would think Yes I Am Free is going to be hustled out of there. Carotari is not a slow horse, but he could go either way. He can lead, he can rate. It's nice to have that sort of versatility.
Yeah, it is. It gives IRAD options in this race. IRAD's going to take over the mount for this race, and it gives them options. This isn't, these 5 furlong turf sprints. They aren't races where you want to get too conservative early, but it's nice to know that he can keep up close and can still be effective if he doesn't make the lead.
Big price down towards the inside. We see the number 1 Chiclet showing a little bit of speed. That's the 1 Novgorod the Great, a horse that's winless from 3 prior starts on turf and was beaten in 2 second-level allowance races at Tampa Bay on the turf in his most recent 2 starts. So he's going to really have to pick it up facing better horses.
Just seems like a really tough spot for him, at least based on what he's done on turf so far. I mean, he's still lightly raced, Dan, but just on his overall form to this point, he looks like a way better horse on the all-weather than he is on turf.
The number 2 Caratari is a cool horse for Brian Lynch. He won this race in 2020. He won this race in 2021. He won the Laurel Dash last year, going 5/8 of a mile when it was contested at Pimlico. And now he's going to be making his 3rd start of the form cycle, perhaps running himself back into shape. Beaten in his first 2 starts, once by Belgrano, once by Yes I Am Free. But I think this is a horse you never want to count out.
I agree with that. The one, little niggling problem that I have with him, Dan, and we already talked about the pace of this race, is that he's really been most effective, especially recently, when he is on the early lead. So we'll see if Irad can get him there this time. He couldn't make the lead in his last 2 starts. He ran fine, but he didn't run great in those races. He's won from off the pace in the past. It's way back in 2020, but every win since then is when he is in charge.
Yeah, to Mike's point, his last 5 wins have come in gate-to-wire fashion. He is quick enough, I guess, if Irad really wants to hustle. I'm just not sure that's going to be the game plan. Now, the 3 lucky score is going to be coming from far out of it, which means A, he's going to hope for some pace, and B, he's got to get the right trip, and C, he's got to hope this distance isn't a little sharp for him. Let's watch his most recent start. This is the grade 2 Kennedy Road at Woodbine over the Tapeta surface. We see him coming widest into the stretch. He has a lot of work to do in this 3/4 of a mile heat, and he runs on well to be 3rd. He's a graded stakes winner, sprinting on the synth in Canada.
This is a good performance from him here, Dan. Taken very wide at the top of the stretch. He races on really gamely. This is a good field, too. And he's making up ground right to the end. I thought he ran well in here. Also ran well 2 starts back when he closed to win a grade 3 on the all-weather. His turf races so far, they're pretty good as well. I mean, I feel like he's going to be okay on the surface. I would just, the thing that worries me most about him is he probably needs a lifetime best to win here. And I'm not sure he's the best closer in this field.
The number 4, Sigiloso, is a solid middle distance horse earlier in his career, and they're trying to reinvent him now as a turf sprinter. He won a down the hill race at Santa Anita going 6.5 in the fall of 2022. This will be his third start of the form cycle. He passed some tired horses last time out in the turf dash at Tampa. I do wonder if 5/8, though, is a little sharp for him, especially if he's given up multiple lengths turning for home.
I'm worried about that too, Dan. He actually ran okay last time. He didn't really have any chance in that turf dash at Tampa, the race that was just dominated on the lead by Chessmaster. But he made up some ground there. The only other time they went 5 at Del Mar, he got wired that day, but was making up ground again. He's just another horse in a situation here where he may not be the best closer in the race, and he's probably going to need some breaks. But if you like him, he's going to be a big price, I think.
Number 5 in here is Belgrano, and I just think he's an underrated sort, making his third start of the Gulfstream meet. He popped a 99 Beyer speed figure in his first start this winter at Gulfstream Park, and it was a race where they tried to get close with him. He had to be shuffled back a little bit down towards the inside. Eventually, the trip worked out. He got to the outside. He ran him down late. Not sure if that was the case last time. Sort of shuffled back again to last, swung wide as turning for home, and maybe there just wasn't enough pace for him in there.
That's how I looked at his most recent start, Dan. It just that rate, he's a horse who needs a little bit of hitting to be going on in front of him to have his very best chance. That Gulfstream Park turf, it was a short field. You can go back and watch the replay in your formulator PPs. There was just no pace in there. Yes, I'm Free easily made the lead. They didn't make him go fast. I thought it put Belgrano way up against it. He ran really well 2 starts back once he finally did come clear, and he's supposed to have a way better setup this time.
Let's watch the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint, won by the number 6, Yes, I Am Free, the horse for course at Gulfstream Park. He made this very easy lead, and you're going to see Belgrano have to swing wide, turning for home, and they're going to sprint home here in 11 and change, and Belgrano just can't make up the distance. Good effort for Karotari to be second, but Yes, I Am Free had the best of it up front. Still, it's hard to take anything away from a horse that loves to win races, is going to be forwardly placed, and will likely be right in the thick of things when the real racing commences again.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's just rock solid, and he's going to show up and run another race here. I just, personally felt like he took advantage last time and actually won at a pretty fair price considering the short field. He was also a great price winning off the layoff 2 starts back in a race where, he just got it done in a blanket finish. He ran fine that day. I just, it feels like he's going to take a little bit of money this time. I don't think I'd want another short price on him.
Warrior's Pride is the number 7. He finished 7th in this race at a pretty big price in 2022, but he showed blazing early speed to make the front. Timeform US believes he'll clear to the front again, and I have a feeling horses like Yes, I Am Free and Karatari, they'll be content to let him go because there are still questions about how good he is, whether he matches up with this field, and B, he's got to do it off a layoff. When he showed that speed in this race last year, he had the benefit of a race. Now he's coming in off of a Labor Day layoff.
That's true. That could certainly work against him here. Maybe he will, sort of speed off early. Dan, again, I just feel these aren't the kinds of races where you want to get too complacent early. And I don't think many of these guys are going to do that. It's only a 5 furlong race. I think even if Warrior's Pride makes the lead, I don't think he's getting loose in this race. And it's going to be really, to me anyway, it's going to be really hard for him to win this.
The number 8 is Full Disclosure. This horse was claimed for $35,000 over the summer, and ever since being moved to synthetic and turf has really picked up his game. He was a solid winner of a first level allowance over course and trip 2 starts back, and then he ran okay in this race. The turf dash last time out, where he finished second at Tampa Bay. He showed a little bit of speed in here. He stays on for second, although no match for the winner.
Yeah, this is the race where Chessmaster just sort of sped off to the early lead. It just never really gave this field a chance. Full Disclosure will get second at the end, but you're going to see, and several of these horses are back in here again. It's just a blanket finish behind this horse. It was just sort of up for grabs for the leftovers. Full Disclosure got it. I guess he ran fine in there. He also ran fine 2 starts back. I liked other horses in here.
Big Invasion, the number 9, might have the most upside of any horse in this field because he showed immense talent, like Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint kind of talent last year, and he was only 3. He won something like 6 races in a row. His win in the Paradise Creek at Belmont going 7/8 of a mile was just sensational the way he finished that race off. And then they turned him all the way back to 5.5 in the quick call, and it was a similar situation. Widest, fastest, won easy, won the Mahoney at Saratoga. I'm not holding that last race against him at Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, I'm not either. He actually ran fine in that race, even though he was beaten at a pretty short price. He got wired that day. He got bumped and sort of forced in at the start of that race. And I just kind of thought Rosario was way too conservative with him in there, Danny. Left him with too much to do. And this horse, ran on okay. I think it's better for him going shorter. We'll just see what we get off the layoff. I spent the entirety of 2022 betting against betting against this horse at short prices. And he made me pay every single time. We'll see if he does it again.
Panther Island is up next, 15-1 on the morning line. Jose Ortiz takes them out, a horse making his second start off of the claim. He finished sixth in that Tampa Turf Dash that we showed you early on, where Full Disclosure ran second. He's lightly raced. He has some upside. I think he might be slightly better on the synth. And he's a horse, though, that at least is learning to rate and finish.
Yeah, I like that about him. And I feel like maybe he's a little dirtied up. I don't want to give him, too many big excuses, Dan, but he's out of that turf dash at Tampa last time. This horse got shuffled back around the turn and then rallied through the stretch. And he was part of that blanket finish for, second, third, fourth, and fifth. He didn't really get a big piece of it, but he could have. And he ran well 2 starts back too. He almost got to Yes, I Am Free at the end of that race. It took him a long time to finally get a seam in that race. And when he got it, he still almost got up. I think he's in better form than it may appear.
The number 11 Omaha City's run some decent races sprinting on the turf in the past. The problem is he doesn't win very often. Only 2 wins from 23 starts. You got to go all the way back to 2021 to find his most recent victory. And now he has to break from a tough outside post in a tough field after finishing 5th behind Full Disclosure last time.
Yeah, just hard to make a case for in this race. He ran fine last time, but didn't run any better than several of the other horses who were coming back in here. He was over 75-1 that day. Yes, I Am Free beat him handily a couple of times last year. I don't know, it just feels like he's in a really tough spot.
Luis Saez picks up the mount on the 12 Rockcrest, 20-1 on the morning line. This is a horse based for most of the year at Woodbine. He's down here maybe to freshen up for the Woodbine season. He ran in the turf dash last time out. He just didn't show his customary early speed in that race first off the layoff. This is a horse that up at Woodbine is usually pretty quick out of there. Now, even if he is quick out of there, he's going to be breaking from post 12 and he might be hung out to dry heading into the turn.
I agree. It's a big problem for him. A horse who wants to use his speed to have to try to clear several fast horses to his inside. It just kind of feels like probably too much to ask for this horse, who deserves the benefit of the doubt for that last one off the layoff, with Chessmaster speeding clear on the lead. He didn't have any real chance there, but I don't think it's any easier for him this time.
Top pick time in the Silks run at Gulfstream. The horse to beat is Big Invasion. I think you and I are going to try to look at this the same way. Belgrano is a horse that might need a little bit of luck, but I don't think he's a plotter. I think he can actually settle into a mid-pack position, and if the pace is fair, he might get the jump on the true closers. He's got to be a price, I would think.
We look at him the same way. I thought he'd be a fair price. I think he can get the right trip in here, and he finishes hard when he has pace to run at. I think he's going to have pace to run at here. I wanted him. Big Invasion will probably win again because I'm not going to bet him. I'm also going to use the 10 Panther Island. I think he's a little better than he looks.
Belgrano is going to be our sort of an upset selection in the Silks run. We'll see what Big Invasion does. We'll see what Yes, I Am Free does. They are the horse to beat in the Silks run. Good luck.